A trench falls silent for 1 second, then a sound rips through it that no soldier on either side had ever heard before, too fast for the human ear to separate into individual shots, just one continuous, tearing roar. American troops would later give it a nickname that stuck for 80 years, Hitler's Buzzsaw. But that weapon was only one piece of a much bigger machine. Germany entered the Second World War with roughly 48 distinct firearms across 13 categories, engineered a weapon category that every modern army still copies, and lost the war before most of it ever mattered. By the end of this video, I'll show you exactly which design still arms half the planet today. And it isn't the gun you're thinking of. Officers carried status first. The Luger P-08 fired 9mm parabellum from an 8-round magazine, and its toggle lock action made it the most recognizable pistol of both world wars, so coveted that Allied soldiers fought over captured examples as trophies. The Walther P-38 replaced it as the standard sidearm, adding a double-action trigger that let it fire without manually cocking the hammer first. Over 1 million were built, and it became the direct ancestor of the post-war Beretta 92. The compact PP and PPK carried the same 7.65mm round in a concealable frame for officers and police. Decades later, the PPK became James Bond's signature weapon, and the Mauser C96, with its unmistakable broom-handle grip, was already obsolete by 1939 but still issued to officers and tank crews, its wooden holster doubling as a shoulder stock. The trenches of the First War taught Germany a lesson the Second War never forgot. Close combat needs volume of fire. The MP-18 was the world's first practical submachine gun, so effective in trench raids that the Treaty of Versailles specifically banned it. Germany didn't forget the design. The MP-28 improved it with selective fire and was exported worldwide before the war, proven in combat during the Spanish Civil War. The MP-34 offered premium Austrian craftsmanship too expensive for mass production, so it went to SS units and officers who could choose their own weapons. The MP-35 saw only 40,000 units built due to its complex manufacturing. Then came the gun that defined German infantry, the MP-40, stamped from pressed steel for mass production. Over 1 million built. So common it's still mistakenly called the Schmeisser, despite Hugo Schmeisser having nothing to do with its design. The MP-41 combined the MP-40's mechanism with a wooden stock and select fire capability, and this one actually was Schmeisser's work, though production stayed limited to SS and police units. Millions carried this into battle. The Carabiner 98K fired the 7.92 by 57mm Mauser round from a 5-round magazine, effective out to 500 meters, with 14 million produced between 1935 and 1945. The backbone of German infantry for the entire war. Its predecessor, the Gewehr 98, still sat in reserve stockpiles and armed rear echelon troops throughout the conflict. The shorter Carabiner 98A, a cavalry carbine from the First War, saw limited but real use decades later. The Gewehr 33/40, a lighter Czech Mauser variant, went to mountain troops and paratroopers who needed to shave every possible gram. And the VK-98 was a last-ditch, simplified K-98K rushed to old men and boys, defending Berlin in the war's final weeks. Germany tried to match American semi-automatic firepower and almost got there. The Gewehr 41 Walter used a gas trap system that proved unreliable and miserable to clean. Roughly 40,000 were built and troops hated it. The competing Gewehr 41 Mauser was even worse, with only 12,000 made before cancellation, a rare failure for Mauser's reputation. The Gewehr 43 finally got it right, copying the gas system directly from the captured Soviet SVT-40. 400,000 were built, often fitted with scopes for designated marksmen. The Carabiner 43 was the exact same rifle, simply renamed in 1944. Germany constantly relabeled its own hardware. Here's where Germany accidentally invented the future. The MKB-42H, Hanel's prototype chambered in the new 7.92 by 33mm intermediate cartridge, built with select fire and a 30-round magazine. Roughly 8,000 were sent to the Eastern Front for testing. It was the direct grandfather of every assault rifle that followed. Walther's competing MKB-42W used a different gas system but lost the contract after only 3,000 units. Then came the STG-44, the world's first mass-produced true assault rifle. 425,000 built, select fire, intermediate cartridge, detachable magazine. Every AK-47, every M16, every modern service rifle since has followed this exact formula. Germany invented the blueprint for the future of infantry weapons, then lost the war before that invention could change anything. Firepower, a single soldier could carry. Perfected. The MG-13 was Germany's first light machine gun after the First War, adapted from an older design specifically to sidestep Versailles restrictions. The MG-15, originally an aircraft gun, with a 75-round saddle drum, got converted to ground use once better aircraft weapons arrived. The MG-30, an Austrian design, saw limited German service, but its mechanism directly influenced the MG-34. And the MG-34 became the world's first true general-purpose machine gun. Infantry, vehicles, aircraft on a bipod or tripod, firing 800 to 900 rounds per minute. Expensive to manufacture, but devastatingly effective. Its successor earned that nickname. The MG-42 fired 1,200 rounds per minute, so fast the human ear couldn't distinguish individual shots, just a continuous rattling tear that American troops called Hitler's Buzzsaw. Barrel changes in under 6 seconds, stamped steel construction for rapid production, 400,000 built, and it's still in service today as the MG-3. Arguably the most influential machine gun design ever built. When light machine guns weren't enough, Germany brought out the heavy stuff. The MG-08, a German-made Maxim variant from the First War, water-cooled and belt-fed on a tripod, still held fixed defensive positions throughout the Second War. Heavy and outdated, but still lethal. The MG-08/15 lightened that same gun for infantry use, adding a shoulder stock while keeping the water cooling, a relic still found in rear echelon units. And when aircraft got scrapped, their guns didn't go to waste. The MG-131, a 13mm aircraft machine gun with an electric trigger and high muzzle velocity, ended up mounted on ground vehicles as improvised defensive armament. Early war tank armor was thin, and Germany built rifles specifically to punch through it. The PZB-38 fired a massive 7.92 by 94mm round from a single-shot falling block action, capable of penetrating 30mm of armor at 100 meters. Heavy, complicated, and brutal to fire, with only 1,600 built before an improved model replaced it. The PZB-39 simplified the design and used a lighter cartridge. 39,000 were produced, effective against light tanks until Soviet armor got too thick. By 1942, the PZB-41 used a squeeze-bore design, compressing a 28mm projectile down to 20mm for higher velocity, punching through 66mm of armor at 100 meters. Complex tungsten ammunition limited production to roughly 4,000 units. Precision over volume, where every shot had to count. Standard K9 8K rifles fitted with ZF-39 or ZF-41 optics, hand-selected for accuracy, with roughly 200,000 specialized sniper variants produced, the primary German sniper weapon of the war. The G43, with a ZF-4 scope, gave designated marksmen faster follow-up shots than a bolt action could manage. About 50,000 were fitted with optics, and SS sniper rifles used hand-picked K98 Coke actions with match-grade barrels and short-eye relief scopes, built in extremely limited numbers for elite marksmen only. Germany rarely used shotguns, with one notable exception. The M30 drilling combined two 16-gauge shotgun barrels over a 9.3 by 74mm rifle barrel, issued to Luftwaffe aircrew for survival, versatile enough to hunt for food after being shot down behind enemy lines. And flares weren't just for signaling. The Leuchtpistole 34, a standard 26.65 millimeter flare gun made from die-cast zinc, handled lighting, signaling, and road communication. Every squad carried one. The Kampfpistole was a converted flare gun with a rifled barrel insert, firing small grenades, armor-piercing rounds, and fragmentation shells, an emergency weapon for last-ditch defense. Some weapons defy every category: experimental, desperate, or purpose-built for one specific job. The FG-42, built for paratroopers who needed both a rifle and a machine gun in one package, fired full-power 7.92 by 57 millimeter ammunition in select fire mode from a side-mounted magazine. Only 7,000 were built, but it was one of the most advanced rifles of the entire war, and its feed system directly influenced the American M60. The Volkssturmgewehr 5G1 was a primitive self-loading rifle for civilian militia, using cheap stamped steel, built in 1945, when Germany had almost nothing left to build with. The VG2 was even simpler, using a gas-delayed blowback system with parts scavenged from scrap metal. The EMP-44 was an emergency submachine gun made from primitive tubing with a wire stock, built for militia when real MP-40s ran out. And the Gustloff Volkssturmgewehr, another last-ditch rifle, semi-automatic only, with 10,000 built in the war's final months and wildly inconsistent quality. Nothing captured went to waste. Germany loved the Soviet PPSH-41 so much, they converted thousands to 9 millimeters and renamed it the MP-41R, giving troops more firepower than the MP-40 itself. The captured British Bren light machine gun, chambered in .303, went mostly to occupation troops and rear echelon units for its excellent accuracy. The captured Sten submachine gun, cheap and primitive, used the same 9mm ammunition as German weapons and became a favorite of resistance fighters, who captured it right back. And German troops actually preferred the captured Soviet SVT-40 self-loading rifle over their own Gewehr. 41. Its gas system was copied directly for the Gewehr 43. 48 weapons, from the elegant Luger to the desperate Volkssturm rifles, from the precise K98K to the revolutionary STG-44. Germany armed millions, built the world's first true assault rifle, and fielded the fastest machine gun of the war. They lost anyway. But here's the twist nobody expects. The MG-42's speed made headlines, but it was the STG-44's quiet, unglamorous formula: select fire, intermediate cartridge, detachable magazine, that actually won the peace. Every rifle, carried by every modern infantry unit on Earth, still follows the blueprint Germany drew up in 1944, months before the war ended. They invented the future of warfare and lost before it ever counted. That was every German weapon of the Second World War.